Lately it's looking like everything perfect. Out the mud with it, I put the work in. You can find me where that turf is. Pin precision like a surgeon. Bad ones used to curve me. Showing up to the show when the curve split. She know that I'm worth it. I'm finna go up from aerial. I got the hit stash, got a bracelet for impact. Real tricky, quick to flip a pretty penny to a thick stack. Quick stat. Think fast and I talk real. I give a fuck about how they feel. Me and Zay dropped the pro.
That's actually working. Zekro is finally able to pay off here. Danes drops down. He's
I've been the man with the blueprint. I won't stop till I own every brick. I used to lay out in the line just to feel the world spin on its axis. Now I got the access and the last laugh got it off of the passion. I keep it 100 on the dash now that we got us some track.
Hello everyone and welcome to Knights Arena Valorant Challengers North America. With Split 2, we're in our 7th week of our Challengers League so far, and things have just been getting more and more interesting as time goes by. Each day brings something exciting, something new, and I cannot wait to get into it. And of course, if you want to join in on the conversations, tell us who you're rooting for, what's kind of caught you off guard so far this split, you can join our Discord fan zone, pks.gg/fanzone. Joining me on the conversation though, today I'm going to be bringing in Upmind and Sully. Hello you two. Challengers, this has just been so much fun so far, Sully. Each day, we're looking at the matchups, we're looking at the past results. Even yesterday, it's just like, oh, wow, what's going on?
Yeah, I think that the development that we've seen from Split 1 now going into MSF, and then now here in Week 1 of Split 2, or Week 6 if you want to call it, from last week, the development with a lot of these teams has been really, really fun to watch. And the games get even more and more exciting and even more competitive with upsets happening every single day. It's one of those things that I look forward to every single day, is watching which team is going to fall down and get beaten by one of these, you know, open qualifier teams or these really heavy underdog guys.
Honestly, I'm right there with you, especially too, we've seen teams that during the first split might have struggled a little bit or really quickly put a claim to being one of the better teams, and then being able to see how teams have adjusted over time to make things lively each one of these days, Gus, has been amazing. Even in yesterday's matches, we got a full day of games yesterday. We went to map 3 in both of them, and some results going in ways that maybe people didn't quite expect, especially at that second game.
Yeah, I mean, already the first one, Turtle Troop come into the split with a brand new roster again, and last season they took at least 3 weeks to really get used to things, and even then they needed another player switch to really do it. Oxygen, though, they had a really good finish to the playoffs last season, and they still went down to TTR. But like you mentioned, that second game, still unbelievable to me that G2 still is yet to win a game so far this split. And I mean, yesterday just kind of proved that again, that MXM are actually in a really decent position to keep improving on their playoff position from last season. Especially too, what's really important, that there's going to be more points up for grab in this split too. Yeah. So these standings are going to be a lot more. Yeah, we've scaled this. So to be able to see who's getting that early jump on the points is incredible. Right away, I'm looking at that plus 32, looking at this group B.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at the plus 32 here. I'm like, wow, that, you know, good for Moist Moguls. It's a team that I think performed extremely well last split, had a really nice growth spurt in MSF. But then I'm looking at the top of that table, my eyes immediately drop to the bottom, because what the heck is going on with G2? 0-2 to kick it off as the runner-ups in the mid-season face-off and the third-placed overall team from Split 1. I think that that's probably the biggest shock coming into this week. Is yesterday they end up losing in incredible fashion. Like, this is a team that, first of all, should not be in this position. We know the individual caliber that those players have, and it's kind of just shocking. And that's one of the exciting things about Split 2 now, is that all these teams are coming to their form. These teams that didn't have that chemistry and experience, well, now they've got it, and now they can knock on the doors of these top dogs.
Especially too, that last place spot looking at Group B was held on to quite dearly in Split 1 by OR Esports. So to see them now in the middle of the pack, this is exciting. This is exactly what I'd like to see when teams are ramping up. So we'll have to see going into today if we're gonna see a bit more of that, see where they can vie in all of this, and we'll be able to see them play first. They are going to have tough competition though, going up against the Guard, one of the teams that has been known for the consistency throughout. Later on, we're going to take a look at the other group, as it will be Disguised going up against Shopify Rebellion. Of course, talking about changes, we will see some there. It's going to be a great day, guys. Huge day. A little bit more about this OR Esports going up against the ARD, because when we're talking about weird upsets, weird matches that happened, it was OR Esports to take that victory last week's league over G2.
And that was probably the most surprising win because it's a team that started off, by the way, did not win a single game in Split 1. They were on a 5-game losing streak. It was a rough patch for OR. And, you know, it was a team that I watched in the open qualifiers. Like, yeah, this team has got a lot of potential. So for them to come into week 1, beat G2 after making 2 pretty substantial roster changes, bringing on new IGL leadership and bringing on a new duelist, I believe is what it was, where Pancake sits. It was a big surprise, at least for me. And knowing what G2 have been able to do with a team that I thought had, you know, a lot of chemistry in their team fights, I thought against a team like OR Esports, they should be able to dominate. But what we saw last week from OR was an elevated look, a lot more comfortability amongst these 5 players.
Yeah, taking the opportunity to reflect that what happened in Split 1, there needed to be some changes. And we've talked before about when we see new changes come on through, that maybe sometimes it takes a team a little bit to warm up. But this seemed to be clicking right away.
Yeah, I do think that one of the things that they were missing was that, like, chemistry in terms of experience. And we will get a quote here in a little bit, but one thing that you will note with OR from Split 1 and the difference in that last match is there was just a lot more comfortability with one another. There wasn't the overstepping without players working in behind them. And at times it felt that Zeldris, who was one of the key players, was kind of doing it all his own a lot of the times, especially that open qualifiers where it was scrappy at times. It felt that Zeldris was the guy that stepped up, pulled them out when they really, really needed it. Nowadays, we're looking at new OR Esports, a lot more comfortable with one another. And again, waiting for the highlights dead sign. Get this quote going to get my point up, but here it is finally. As Nilly says here, within 4 or 5 days of playing with him, Physic, they're talking about the new IGL leadership. He microed so well. He's just so calm and collected. That's really what we needed with our team. What he means by that is, you know, bring them back in, play the fundamentals, and make sure that fundamentally you've got everything down. That's what takes down top teams, and that's what they did last week.
That interview, too, there was so much just uplifting and talking about the team and physics in general and just how well he was able to adapt into this roster, into this IGL slot, and really be able to turn things around. So to see him accredited so much to that first week here in Split 2 victory was just absolutely incredible. But of course, we want to make sure that we are highlighting one of those bright spots that we did get to see in our Split 1. I mean, we were talking about bright spots for the team. Even a team that was not really being able to pull out these victories, there's still got to be a highlight somewhere.
No, yeah, I mean, Zeldris, I remember watching him in the open qualifiers. I did truthfully think that he was star potential. Like, individually, he was one of the best. And I think that despite last split, I mean, the sky's the limit for this team. They've already exceeded what they did last split. And so for this guy, I've got even higher expectations for him.
Yeah, I mean, Zeldris, all things considered, again, every game being a loss, Zeldris actually hadn't dropped below double-digit frags since week 2, which is also when they faced the guard. But that's at least to say that Zeldris in his duelist position is at least being put in a position to succeed, which for some teams at this point in Challengers is a lot to ask for.
Zeldris even tweeted out about the fact that Split 1, I mean, the team had reached rock bottom. When you can't pull a series together, that is ultimately what it is. They can only go up from here, and already being able to see that come to life in Split 2 is fantastic. But they definitely are going up against some stiff competition today because the guard, I mean, it's a team that doesn't really need too much introduction. This has been a fantastic team to be watching, and even coming off of last week's win, the guard is looking so good. They're putting in so much work behind the scenes. They're definitely not a team to sleep on at any point in the road.
Yeah, truthfully, a team that I think that when you look at it, at its core, it's a team of just, you know, studs. Like, it's not individually based. Like when you see teams like G2 and it's always Oxy popping off at the top of the stats, it's a collection of these 5. And you know, I look at all these match pages and I'm like, yeah, I really can't point out who's always going to be the key difference maker. Sometimes I remember it was Trent when we were talking about him last year during Challengers. Nowadays I look at this team and it just feels like a very well-oiled machine. Tex is one of those guys that I think had very big shoes to fill in terms of Saya player. I think he's filled them perfectly in a very good team sense. He gets the job done, and he has a great support system around him as well.
I mean, just to add to that, already in week 1, 4 out of the 5 players for guard were rated top 10 already.
Exactly.
As if last season they were already developing. This season, we're finally getting some of that individual prowess that we already saw from last season. From last year, I meant.
And after the mid-season face-off, where it wasn't quite the result they might have wanted, even though it was still pretty good, they've been hitting the books. They've been doing all of work, the practices too, after talked to Val in an interview last week, talking about how they've been putting in so much work, so much practice. They're not taking anything for granted. And their series last week going up against FaZe really solidified that. I mean, they were able to play incredibly solid.
Yeah, I do think you have to be a little bit worried for this team, and the reason why I say that is I'm just kind of going to directly quote Nilly. From his interview last week, one of the things that he said is the reason why that they weren't able to close out maps and series against these top teams like the Guard and M80, which OR, despite their record, had very, very close series. One of the things that he highlighted was that lack of fundamentals, and he does kind of maybe have the excuse that with his team, they didn't have the chemistry and they didn't have the experience like teams like the Guard. And I do think at times that's the difference maker for the Guard. Like, don't lie to me, guys. Everyone was saying that this was the best team in Challengers, right? Like, I'm not tripping over that. And they couldn't close. And unfortunately, they ended third in MSF, which is still a very good placement. But what I saw from Split 1 is the development of all these other teams that eventually started to catch up to the Guard. And I think that's where things kind of got worrying for me watching this team.
But the Guard also then have room to grow on that same, on the reverse side of the coin there, because they recognize too, because they were up when you're looking at the mid-season face-off and then couldn't close out the games. That was a little bit of a different pressure that they weren't able to quite make the same plays, where things were kind of falling through the grates a little bit. So with every other team needing to find these fundamentals and been improving on them, I mean, the Guard at that point too have been slowly leveling up. So when you go into today, we look forward to this team as much as we can talk about every team upgrading. I mean, the Guard's definitely upgrading with them.
Yeah, no, and at least already we're going to see our map picks in a little bit. The Guard actually have one of the most solid map pools in this split so far. But as we go into the map picks, though, OR Esports, they played last week Haven, Split, and Lotus. It doesn't matter how wide that map pool already is. The Guard have been pigeonholed into the only maps that OR have been able to prepare.
I am not opposed to this at all, though, when we're looking at the side of OR Esports. The fact that the last week happened, but with Lotus being the decider too, considering that something of lack of experience for the team is definitely an issue sometimes. But when we're looking at these newer maps, we're looking at newer comps, newer meta, newer agents. This is where they start to feel a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, the thing is with Lotus is that this team with the Guard have a 4-1 record, and they've played.
Yeah, they slap.
Yeah, the thing is they're pretty dang good when it comes to Lotus. So
yeah,
I mean, I think that from the get-go, everyone knew that this was going to be a tricky game for OR. Like, don't get me wrong. Yeah, they beat G2. They look a little bit better, but they still haven't proven anything to us that they are a team that can contend for playoffs right now. There's an opportunity they can make it to playoffs in Split 2 just because of the point separation and the point increase from Split 1, but there's still a lot they have to do, and I think that this series is going to be especially hard. Haven, it's a map that they push a lot of teams to the limit to, but it's it's in very similar standing to the Guard. Like, both teams have very solid map records, so looking at this best of 3 series, Gus, me personally, I look at it and I say, dude, Haven has to be a win for OR.
No, absolutely. If anything, OR, they've been trying to pick at Split, but what a train crash last week, man. But again, that has to come down to a little bit of that reflection, a little bit. OR Esports haven't been able to really adjust their Split comp really at all, and they're coming in with 2 new roles. So, I mean, again, there's still some adjustability to be had for OR Esports. I still expect a better Split side, but like you said, Haven has to be it, or else Split and Lotus are just too dangerous.
I'm 100% there with you, especially too, they let Split through last week versus G2 because they're like, well, maybe G2 isn't too good on it. You know, we don't really feel too bad about our Split, and we all saw how that went down. So I'm gonna put my name right under the, hey, or need to win Haven to make this a 3 map to try and take the series. But I'm excited to see the progression that OR Esports has had in this, because going up against a team that has this consistency like the Guard, I feel like this would be the real big showcase for OR Esports of where they've been able to grow during that mid-season face-off. And on the flip side, with the Guard, talking about those little mistakes that they need to be figuring out, that practice that they've been doing to make sure they can just wash out their competition. They want to go through these games. They want these to be a wash. This should be a really interesting game, Sully, for both teams on where exactly they kind of stand.
Yeah, and just touching back to the Guard, I think the the consensus was at the beginning, okay, let's make a timeline. The beginning of Challengers, dude, the Guard are winning, give them already the spot in franchising. It doesn't matter. At this point in time, it's M80 could take that spot, G2 could take that spot, Oxygen and Turtle Troop are looking really good. Same thing with Moist Moguls. I'm loving the way Split 2 is turned out. Me personally, I'm excited to see what else is going to come through in the later weeks because teams are just getting better and better and better. And like we were saying, Sierra, this is like the testing ground for OR. It's like, how do you fare up against the Guard, a team that has been tested and is very well known to be a very strong team. I think it's a very good benchmark for them. And, you know, if we look at map 1, you win map 1, the series opens up immensely for these guys.
Yeah, and I think even going into this, even at the end of the series, this being a 2-0 the Guard, 2-1 the Guard, I feel like at the end, even if OR Esports can really make it competitive, really show what they've got, that's still really bodes in a really good place in my mind going forward for the rest of the split for them, because it's all going to be about that improvement. And if they're already looking as good as they did last week with these 2 new players, and then can hopefully translate that, it should only be level up with that.
Yeah, and I think the main thing for OR Esports is that the 2 players that they ended up getting were actually pretty easy slots in terms of comps or in terms of the actual agent picks that they had. So, I mean, you can pretty much duel those guys up as double controllers and only put them only come into effect way later on in the round. The early round progression, at least for OR Esports, hasn't changed all too much. Zeldris is still very much on the front lines of almost every single interaction at this point. And I think, again, still OR Esports made the right moves in terms of that improvement. But again, we're still looking to see if, again, maps like Split, especially that attack side, can improve just that little bit. And of course, OR Esports, can they still continue to evolve their comp as they did going into last week?
Hey, a little call out they had last week in their interview was the fact that they don't have as much tape on them as anyone else, especially now with these changes. Whereas a team like the Guard has tape for days, So maybe as well they've been able to do their studying to figure out what needs to be done today. We are going to be taking a quick break as our players get in the lobby and get things sorted. But after that, we're going to be back with our first map. All right, we're going to be getting into Agent Select soon to find out in our first map how things are going to be going down between OR Esports and the Guard. Of course, looking ahead in the series, considering the track record of these teams, there's definitely a lot of thought that this could be very strong for the Guard. But I'm still excited, Sully, when we're looking at OR Esports to see with these roster changes, with what they've been doing behind the scenes, what they're going to be able to deliver us today.
But I'm feeling electric about this OR team. Like I've got a good feeling about these guys. You know, they've been with Physic for 2 weeks. I again think that if they win map 1, it opens the doors for a possible upset. They did it against G2. Why not do it again? I want to see them go on a hot streak, man. They went on the coldest streak ever, going 0-5. What's to say they can't go 5-0, you know?
I want to see the chaos, you know? I want to see next week when we're looking at next week we look at our standings and we're like, well, here's the Guard, here's everywhere else. Here's OR Esports.
At the top of the table, man.
At the top. Nah, it's definitely been really fun going into Split 2 with how things are shaking up mine. But of course, the Guard, last week, they definitely were showing us that, you know, they kind of want to be coming out of the gates in Split 2 and be at the top, because third in the mid-season face-off was not enough.
Yeah, no, not at all. Very simply put, I think the Guard are just getting comfortable at this point. They haven't really been able to catch up with some of the maps that ended up updating last split, especially Lotus. I think even though Lotus ended up becoming really solid for them near the end of the season, still had a lot of adversity in, I think, the first like 3 or 4 games. They've got it down now, but that's the whole point. This team is so dangerous right now that they are once again back at that top 2, even top 1 dangerous position for playoffs at the end of Ascension. But I, again, still don't know what to expect out of OR, simply because, again, when the Guard have faced these newer teams, the Guard do take them pretty handily. But hey, OR, we already saw them beat G2. How do you beat the second place team coming out of MSF immediately after they get second place? They can do it again, surely.
Well, it all starts on Haven. What we said, it should be a must-win for OR Esports if they want any chance of taking the series. But with the Agent Select, the game's going to come soon. So good luck, guys. I'll catch you on the other side.
They're fully underway.
Sarah, thank you so much. Yeah, fully underway. The picks are already locked in. No changes from either of these teams. It's looking good. It's looking solid, especially for OR, who are running the exact same composition. Again, they took down G2 last week, so this is a map that they feel pretty good on. And having, I think, the breach on both sides is going to be a very interesting battle. I personally think the way... Oh my god, I'm loving these cams. When the heck did we get these? Hey. Jonah might need to back up a little bit from his. Lower the exposure in the back, but man, I'm loving this.
He's just getting a whiff. All good. This is
and
good, though.
OR cams, come on. Did we have this yesterday? I can't remember. Maybe we did, maybe we didn't. I'm freaking out for no reason. But I'm loving these cams. You know, we get to see the personalities of these players. Pancakes is a handsome looking man, bud. But anyways, Gus, OR Esports, I think this is a team that have literally no expectations on their shoulders, and it's going to be a very hefty battle here. It's already on the A site. 5 players from the guard are looking to contest, and Zeldris, the man of the hour, in my opinion, has got to deal with a lot of them as he's got the Sheriff.
Spike down A.
Shadows traveling. Cover going out. Blind.
I think maybe up mine might have gone. I just got confirmation from my producer, so I'm gonna try and do this by myself here. Nice opening here for the guard. Unfortunately, Gazelle just not able to find much, but it stacks up close. Able to take down at least one as Jonah P from the back lines alongside Valen. And a scrappy round from the casters ourselves. Maybe not to scrap at the end, but we had it there towards the end as OR not able to pick up that first round. The guard will start off in a 1-0 fashion. And for these players on the guard, I mean, it's very well known that this is a team that I think relies lately a lot more on their tactical ability, more so than maybe a team like G2 who will rely a lot on their individual ability. So for OR, we know that the team fights, it's one thing that Nilly was talking about, how they've been working on a lot. Vapin, their coach, has been extremely helpful in getting those fundamentals down. That it's one thing that we look at these matchups, especially with a benchmark like the guard, how do they fare against these kind of teams?
I'll be your new up mind for this one. Guard taking pistol round and playing the beginning of this one a little bit slowly, just getting that information, vying around, looking back towards this A site, right into the scope of Zeldris on the other side, though, gonna get the kill and get out of there.
Yeah, that'll open things up here for at least a 4 versus 5. There's an opportunity for OR now, and that kill has sent shifts down guard spine, right? They're gonna start to shift over to this B site. The gun's still not exactly in favor here of OR, but site opened up here for the guard. I think that this site in particular, they're gonna have to be a little bit careful of. If Zeldris can land maybe a couple of body tags, that specifically that frenzy, that ghost are gonna finish a couple of these players off, and that will make this round a whole lot more dangerous. So the guard get the plant down, they back away, and OR don't look like they're too eager to get into this site. This could just be a play for exits.
Yeah, just hiding behind the box, play around that information, try to push into this B site with only a marker to your names. Not one that's going to be going probably too well in your favor. But that's finally going to be the push in, gathering the smoke, but a little bit of spam and all that denial coming on through. Looking around, really able to grab one, but just the weaponry is a little too much. I'm taken away.
Enemy remaining.
I think it would be nice here if they could have removed Net and Tex. 2 players on extremely low HP. But truthfully, Sierra, not the worst of rounds for OR. Yeah. They take some guns out of the hands of the guard. They definitely take and force reinvestments, and we're currently in a meta where teams are buying only light shields, where it'll boost their economy. I mean, we are in a Vandal meta, so making them reinvest into any piece of utility, any armor that they can is going to hurt their economy ever so slightly. But for now,
just one.
Guard and OR, 2-0 start here for the guard as rifles will come out from both sides. Those 2 kills will force buybacks here from the guard.
Yeah, especially nice too, considering the only investment. Oh, have fun. Good luck. Good luck with your computer for real.
Net trying to catch some kind of rotation off. If he's got a pretty decent amount of space here towards me. This turret from the guard is establishing a lot of early mid control, and OR yet to really deal with it. Zeldris once again kind of the solo player. That drone will cue another rotate over, so there are 2 players now left here on the A site. But the guard slowly walking up. This smoke is going to give them great cover, and now they know that they have almost a free entry into the site. Jonah6 has arrived though, and he's got a full kit here, so this hit could be devastating here to the guard.
Spike down A. One enemy remaining.
Beautiful. What a smoke from Pancakes as well, by the way, to fully cover up Oh, what's going on here? I think we're having the worst technical difficulties. Yeah, the worst technical difficulties you can imagine. Up mine went away. Sierra came on. Now the game has crashed. You know, we're booling. We're booling.
We came in with too much energy. We said things were going to be electric, and apparently we fried something behind the server. So we're going to take a quick break here. Hey, it's time for the popcorn. It's time to go get yourself a nice pop or something. We'll be back soon with our banger of a game.
Yeah, so my new major is engineering now, and I've recircuited everything, I've rewired everything. OR leading, not leading, apologies. Picking up their first round. That will be the full buy here for the guard as a much more aggressive take towards his C site. Zeldris actually switching things up from the A site, and they will get full control here over towards the C long.
Such a dangerous spot, but they hear the alarm bot, or at least have seen it already. What's the answer here for OR? Because the util that comes from long isn't great.
They are going to post up Jonah6 as well towards the back of C, so I love this coverage here from OR. It's 2 different angles that if you are the guard, you might not expect it from long and from the back of site, but they are starting to shift towards A. It's always been this mid lurk, this mid play from Millie. They get him deep in towards garage, and then they just leave him. And this is a very weakened A site. It's only Nilias. The smokes from Pancakes. He's only got 1. I think if you're looking at this from OR, this is almost, you kind of just give up the site here and play the retake. And the rest of the guard begin to group up, and there goes out of their smoke, so there's really nothing here to hold them back now.
They're still inching back. They're taking the control of garage off of the call from Nilias.
And they might have actually just popped that one singular shot to try and bait rotations over. And Nilias had this space, but they don't have C long.
Here we go. Zeldris is going to be the first one. But Pancakes, no way. Doesn't bring the pain, and instead Zeldris does get one back, but it's only the one. Still have the one in the back of sight, but not anymore. What a shot. Still a kill comes back from Physic. That's huge. Net is in the back lines.
And there's a Hunter Sphere here as well. Physic.
No, he missed.
That one kill that he got through the smoke. He gets 1 tag and a little bit of damage. No finishes just yet. And Net on 47, Tex on 45. Valen not too far off.
Not impossible.
He's trying to regroup back with his team. He's got no util to work with. 1 smoke now popped up here, but there's the first play, and he loses it. A huge round from Tex. A 3K on the round and 2 beautiful openings with the knives.
I mean, he needed those kills from long. The trades that came in, super critical to actually get this team through garage into sight. And again, Tex, this second shot right here. Oh my goodness. That's what you like to see already from the guard. They go up already. OR, back down to pistols.
Pancakes just having trouble finishing his mission, taking out the player that swings him. I think if he gets that trade, that's a whole lot more possible from Zeldris, because then it's a 2v1, but...
Just 1 kill there is fine.
Like you said, resetting here, OR. It will be back onto pistols, and OR, a lot more aggression this time around. Breaking the turret, Zeldris is going to establish mid control. I think that's one key factor that OR didn't have in those first 4 rounds, breaking that early mid turret, which they've done here.
Yeah, the guard are very wary of mid. Can't touch that by any means. OR are actually funneling them right to where they want them. 3 players in the back of C.
Zeldris,
here we go.
Huge opportunity. It's good to find 1. Full knives up as well.
That's all you need.
He dashes away, and he's got an opportunity again to regroup with his team. Knives can be the difference maker here, and it has been for the first kill.
How's the stack still from OR? How's the read?
They're reading it perfectly here. 55 seconds left. The guard aren't exactly prone to making these kinds of exits. We've
This
seen
is
them
good.
back away, but I think the panic off of that first kill is going to send them into the A side, actually.
This is perfect. 4 players, 5 players, all here for OR. Yes, they're pistols, but can they combine? They end up picking up one off of Tex, and everyone else is running for the hills. 40 seconds left. There still might be time.
Did he get him? He doesn't. He gets a tag, and that's about it. There's no gun picked up just yet. That's going to be for Pancakes
No
instead.
call from net.
Oh, and they're backing up. They're backing up, and the
30
guard are
seconds
coming
left.
back instead. No read here from Zeldris. He does have the double updraft, so there's an opportunity if he gets on the box here between A and B to shut down this planer, but it's all a matter of timing here.
That's just so lucky now for the guard, though.
He's not going to go for it. No double updraft from
Spike
Zeldris.
planted.
There were 5 players in the back of A. 5! They all abandon, and the guard get a red carpet. This is such a golden opportunity for them.
Jonas6 does have his fault line. Him and Physic are going to try and queue up this exec. First smoke goes in.
Valen.
Where does Zeldris go?
Zeldris, does he aim for the cubby first? Yeah, there you go!
Of course.
Beamed it onto Valen, but you still have another player alive! 2 players for the guard standing, but they go down in an instant. OR Esports with an eco, with a thrifty, win a big round over the guard.
We'll try and figure this out, but what a lovely retake from that team. And Sierra, we're going to bring you back in. Oh, never mind. No, Sierra,
maybe.
just us two. But
What's up?
yeah, dude, I mean, it's electric out here. It's really, really electric right now.
Yeah, I mean, the guard, they had the round. They had the round, essentially. I would like to think with the 3v4, but there's way too much util there. Very, very well done just to isolate the one at the very beginning onto Valen. And that's all you really need. They had a 2-man advantage after that anyways. But, I mean, the way that this game is going, it just seems like it might be a little bit more of a game of adaptability, if anything, because this is
my
starting to be
God.
chaos.
Yeah, we're going to hopefully try and figure things out here. Again, no idea what's going on with these technical issues. I actually don't know if I'm supposed to throw to a break here. I'm just going to wait. Never mind. We are back. The game is coming back online. So, you know, it's been fun so far, the 5 rounds that
Yeah.
we've watched.
Good times.
Yeah, I can't really say too much. Like, we've had 2 major interruptions, 2 major resets. But yeah, OR, I think we're seeing already very early signs of a team with promise to take this first map. That last
Ooh.
retake in particular, electric from them is OR.
Attacking up.
The big gun attacking up from Tex and the big gun from Zeldris on the defensive side. And we're seeing, again, a whole lot more mid-aggression from OR.
It's going to be the double out of Garage. Has to be that flash out. But Zeldris, he has the op. Is he going to try to go deep here?
And what I want to see is if they want to maybe use this Rolling Thunder. Like, it's a pretty precarious spot. If you feel that pressure, it's perfect to use it.
Uh-oh.
Once again, they break that early turret. This is a huge win out from OR towards mid.
But big difference from last round. They broke that turret, but the guard didn't fight mid at all.
And
Now they have
way
2 players
OR
right here.
Look, the way they have this set up, and I love it. Physic over on towards A. He's just dropped the recon bolt for info, and then a full setup towards C, just to feel out the pressure. I'm interested as to why OR begins to rotate, because this meta control is going to be huge, and Pancake's really's got no way to get out of here. As the guard, we're 40 seconds in, have not made a move on any site.
Random stun. Didn't catch anyone there. The guard. They're almost desperately trying to find a gap right now, but nobody's peeking them at the moment. The big thing is still no second contact in mid right now. There's only the turret, but they still don't clear the corner. Pancakes! He's about to lay it all down. 1 player right in front of him, but he just lets him
They called this
slip.
fake. They should have called this fake.
They called the
Absolutely.
fake.
Yep, he sees a solo player working in, and Pancakes, look at this, slip through the cracks. Do they know that Physic's here? No, they simply don't. No, they
Huge.
simply don't. 2-piece from him and a beautiful paranoia from Pancakes to help assist.
OR, the entire round had the guards' number. We already saw that mid play happen just the round before, but the one time that the guard try to really pick apart that mid area, try to really see what's going
10
on,
seconds
they spend way too much time and end up getting trapped in A main. Huge, huge wrap.
And that's going to tie things up here. 3 apiece between these 2 teams. And OR, this domination of mid from these last 2 rounds is key. That's the second time we've seen a player from OR slip through. It was Zeldris that wanted in their eco round. And then here, Pancakes picking it up, and guard are going to have to definitely figure out an answer to this mid aggression, because they're losing it almost every single time. And the last round, they weren't willing to risk Trent's util to re-clear that space out. For now, from the guard, it seems pretty calm. But this is a big gap in their offense, and I think this is one that, you know, with their coach, they're going to have to try and sit down and figure out what do we do, and Valorant's going to come up with an answer here as well.
OR, it's not like they've kind of gone off any sort of their early pacing. Very consistently, every round, they've gotten some sort of deep map control. The last 2 rounds, it's been mid. Before that, it was long. But still, I think at this point, it really just is the guard trying to stifle some of that, or at least trying to get some of that info early, just so they're not battling with so much utility to try to get that information back.
Blimey, what's going on here? Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Something's going on here. Let me go back. Let me dig around in the wires, and then we'll come right back once I solve you things. Like, don't worry, guys. I'm an engineer. I got this. All right, so I dug around in the back like a little rat. I fixed the wires. Another rat chewed through it. We're back in. It's threes. It's threes right now in OR. They've got the gun advantage pretty heavily. The guard are coming just off of a timeout as well, so there should be some changes that we will be seeing soon. Yeah, that came out of nowhere. I was ranting. I saw him. Don't worry. Jonah P slipped through all the way in towards garage. Now Zelgris with an opportunity, a huge missed shot. That would have been the kill that could have set them up. But now there needs to be a little bit more from these last 2 players, and I just don't think we're going to see that. Guns have been picked up in OR. A catastrophe of a round. I think this comes off the timeout from the guard. They fix things up, switch up the tempo. Mid control was a big hit. And they fix that. They send Jonah P straight through up garage, and now from 3s to 4 for the guard. They will take the lead off of essentially a thrifty round. They just had 1 Bulldog.
It was the one round, though, where OR wasn't proactive in that same manner that we saw for the last 3-4 straight rounds. But yeah, if there was ever a round for the guard to turn up that pace, it's definitely that one, where OR are sitting tucked in the back of C.
Gun's still available here for OR, specifically that operator for Zeldris. The guard, they will have their buyback as well. Huge eco round to pick up for the guard. And a very quick one at that. It's a tempo that we haven't seen throughout this first map, this first half just yet. I think we're going to see a little bit more of that. They're going to, again, post up net towards mid. He's going to drop that turret. And a different spot as well towards garage where it can't be broken as easily. Physic putting a huge opener as he just sits down and grabs the orb. He will collect it. The guard still posting 4 players towards his A site. Not a lot of map control, but a very hefty defense from OR, you have to imagine.
Yeah, look how deep that alarm bot is right now for OR. But yeah, they're still maintaining 3 players in the back of A.
They're going to know it's so early when this hit comes, and they're tucking in towards short. I like this. This is a perfect spot to use this Rolling Thunder for Jonah 6 on a retake, but the spike for the guard has begun to shift over towards C. And nothing, he sees 1 player, and that's it for Pancakes. I don't think that's enough to shift the rotate here. And this is a huge info game between these 2 teams, because now the guard are beginning to go back. They know that Tex has been spotted, and they're thinking with just 1 player there, OR begin to shift players around. And they're just trying to catch a timing, it looks like.
Again, the guard, very clearly contemplating. Still trying to manage getting their way out of A long, but again, if they did get any sort of information into the back of C, into the back of B, there's nothing there. They're still trying to fake that area.
Oh, that timing.
25 seconds left. They're so far away from A, but what a shot from Net. This is huge from Jonah 6 around the corner in the off angle, but he gets nothing. It's Net with a redirect. Nilly has around the corner. He's able to get 2.
10 seconds.
Trying to stay alive. 10 seconds left. Can't get
10 seconds left.
the knives down from Tex. Zeldris in a 1v3. Already felt the pressure from the Jet. Might have already spotted the player under.
Not a chance.
But Tex sticks around with the big op. 5-3 going back to the guard. But again, that 1 eco has put the guard up.
This is a huge mind game between OR and the guard. There's a random shorty shot that we heard, and I believe that was Tex. That's the second time that the guard have sent a random shot in towards Sirius, and I no longer think it's just a misclick. I think it has to be an actual sound cue bait, and it did. It pulled Physic from his position to try and face check. They didn't have util to clear out short, so what he had to do was actually face that position, and he ended up getting gunned down by Net. So the Guard are playing this really, really long mind game, and it's working so far. We still have a bye between these two teams, and the Guard, they will start to check base over here towards C with this one player. Pancakes in the smoke and covered for one.
Cheeky, the paranoia is just going to delay for this rotation too. 4 players in the back of C right now for OR.
This is where it will slow down for the Guard as well. Despite losing that player, you imagine they're not going to get into the rush of things. They will break this turret. Still a minute left to kind of manipulate these rotations and try and retake space, but this time around, Zeldris is taking a really nice angle in towards her, which I think will just make this a whole lot harder for the Guard to try and sell an exec towards A.
There's nothing to answer from OR here on B, but they do have the contact in terms of the alarm bot. But that's about it. If they can get this plan in, that lockdown is going to be crazy for Post.
There's still a rolling thunder here from Jonah 6 to not only deny the spike plan, but at least force his players off site, in which he's going to use it. That will get the spike down. Valen just barely able to get out, and Aftershock to follow up. There's no timing for these players, and the lockdown as well. Triple threat comes out, and OR, they've secured the B site, retaken the space, and now we have to see what's OR's response.
They have to run out all the way to long 2. What a trap from OR. Just an awkward spot for that lockdown. Jonah P, last round remaining, is going to inevitably go down, but OR, they had that answer the entire time in terms of the ulti.
Zeldris got to hold up. Zeldris got his back turn. This is a free op. They won't have to reinvest. And he's going to get the knife. No
and the
reinvestment
cash
back. There's the up and the loss for Zeldris. No operator moving forward unless they really want to force into it, which it looks like they don't have. Okay, they do actually have just enough cash from Jonah 6. But that's money out of the pockets for OR.
That's a lot.
Zeldris just leaving his keyboard, ends up losing it.
It's not back-breaking. They should have cash after. But with only 3 rounds left in the half, if OR lose this one, they could find themselves in a reset situation for the last round of the half.
Zeldris again. Early, aggressive op angle. And OR have done these stacks on both A and C site. This time they will go towards A. And this is crazy as heck. What are they doing?
Oh my God.
Walking through a smoke with 4 players? This is obscene. And Tex had just no idea.
Nowhere you can aim at. He was still aiming for the corner. Nelia has a huge shot onto Jonah P. The Guard are getting chipped down as they head into C. Again, all of these players on the outside of A, though. There's no one in the back of C.
And Pancakes has slipped through as well. Yes, they're going to get the spike down, but Pancakes is in a prime spot to punish Net here.
Ooh.
Net, he doesn't know it, I don't think. Spike will go down. There's a lockdown in play. He's gonna. Oh, this is gonna work.
Huge.
He's trying to set up for a lockdown towards Garage. It looks like. But Pancakes is on his back, and he just doesn't know.
Oh, the angle! Both of them unknowing. Net was the one that was ready for that sort of angle, though. He was waiting for someone to come out of spawn. Here we go, though. Still a man advantage for OR. Everyone from the Guard sitting over towards long.
Trent is just playing with his shock darts. There's not a lot going here for the Guard except for these gunfights. And yes, they're winning them. Yes, they're winning them.
They have no coverage now, though. All 3 of these players with util that just can't stop these players over and long. Jonah 6 just trying to stick Nilias. That's huge, but the round is over. Net gets the last 2, and the Guard scrape a 6th.
Such an effective post plant from the Guard. Playing different angles and kind of peeking one by one so that there's not an opportunity for a spray transfer to happen. Just no one overcommits essentially from the Guard. It's very, very quick peaks. And despite coming from essentially a 5 versus 3 situation, they're able to cover the round because I think in this one it's mainly OR leaving a huge gap on the C site and giving an opportunity to the Guard. But playing smart and playing to, you know, their strengths in this situation, which is this long distance duel where they can give these pop shots. That's what gets them the round here. A timeout called by OR as they know that for sure was a round they should have won.
So much more important this next upcoming round too, because they still have cash. Like I said before, the reset situation is fully there. OR now with another big attempt, another big read, not going their way. Just the round before though, they did have that big ultimate base take, but it almost seems like every round that we've seen from OR, one big factor has had to come up huge. Whether it was Zeldris, whether it was Basic a little bit earlier on, whether it was that 4-man push. That tried to be the catalyst and it didn't work out. Now OR, do they go back to something more fundamental?
And it looks like it. They're just going to try and get Zeldris onto the orb. There's no contest here from the guard to try and stop him for it. So he will have knives online. This looks like from the guard a little bit heavier of a mid look possibly. Dart as well is going to establish a lot of control. Kind of the base setup from OR is get this A control, post up a player here, and you'll kind of stack the other site. Dart breaks nothing. The alarm bot's position was changed. Same with the nanoswarm as well.
Such a deep nanoswarm.
There's a lot of opportunities for OR to delay this spike plant. We'll break the alarm bot finally. The chance to delay the spike plant at least. Zeldris is going to get risky with it.
It's going to be a big delay. Oh, he's out of here.
Backing away. I think that's smarter. Like, how to play this 5 versus 5 where your knives can
Great
still be
stun.
effective.
Taking off the angle. But Zeldris again, this is just safe for him right now. Everyone from OR getting into position.
The guard have elected to fight towards A-Link instead.
No!
And we were just about to see Tech step into the smoke, but we step out of the game again. Oh my god, third time. I think, I know Pansy and Hypoc are pretty infamous for technical issues. I think we might have just hit a record for within a map. I don't
within
know.
a half.
Can we get our statisticians on that? Like, I don't know what's going on, but we'll be right back once I fix things again. We'll see you guys on the other side. Oh, buddy, what a day. We've got no barracks, we've got no HUD, but we got a game going on, and I think that's really all that matters and all we can ask for at this point. 4-7 OR versus the guard.
Jeez.
It's just, I mean, it's close, right? We've got a game in our hands at the very least.
OR Esports, they were doing a lot better earlier, that's for sure. The guard have exploded near the end of this half, and now look to close out a big round. I thought OR Esports would be on the verge of a very, very scrappy bye in this round, but they seem to be a little fine. The inch up from the guard is going over towards A once again, but OR Esports, 3 players in the back line.
There's a very deep control here towards C, which is allowing this OR stack towards the A side as well. And we've seen OR, they've kind of tucked players over here towards sewers multiple times, and they will be prepared for this hit. The smoke is in front of them as these players start to edge closer. I was tripping. I was wondering if I had froze, but we don't know. Once again, we'll be right back after hopefully another short break. 8:52. We are in the second half. The guard are currently up 8-5. It looks like OR lost the last or won the last start of the first half, and now we're here in round number. Let me do the math. Like 14 as we head into it. The guard now on the defensive side. OR once more on the attack. Oh, never mind. It looks like
they won pistol.
The pistol round. Okay, there we go. So that's where they have the full buy. The guard, they lead 8-5. Yes, they had the 8-4 half. Can they close this out? They will just have pistols to work with this time around.
They're going for huge read between C and B Link. 3 players already around. Not a lot of use of the KJ to actually play around. It's just the turret sitting in the back of B.
These 4 players, it looks like we might just have a guard setup where the fault line comes in off of the spike plant, and then 3 players kind of just burst out on either side to see if they can get any kills, maybe deny the spike plant, pull some guns out of the hands of OR. But this isn't a round where you are worried if you are OR. Again, like, as much as I want to build up storylines, Gus, we didn't get to, I feel like it was a little choppy from the first half, I'm not going to lie. But Tech's sitting, I think, with 20 kills at the moment, looking extremely, extremely sharp right now. He's been living up in this first map. But it looks like we are going to have that kind of cue as these players burst in.
There you go. Tech's already in the front side. Huge kill off of him. There goes finally the rifles, getting back the trades. Net is going to get caught out in the open. So there you go. Just a little bit of chaos just to shock the system a little bit. But OR Esports still maintain the majority of their guns. But yeah, I mean, the guard, we were already saying before the game, that's at least 4 out of the 5 players last week had insane pop-off potential. And this week it just seems, or this map at least, it just seems to be Tex on the front side. That's it.
It literally is just Tex right now, and I mean, for how competitive that first half was, the OR, like, I'm looking at you look at the stats and like, wow, those are
It's shocking, really.
There's nothing crazy, but still, more VALORANT to be played. They've won 2 rounds in a row now in this second half, and now the gun's up here for the guard in a contest. Heavy fight here towards mid from OR. It looks like a C split. They go nowhere near towards A, and yeah, they're just gonna try and lean into this one as Zal just finds an entry.
And the player in the back can't do anything about it. It's just the one pick to disperse all of C.
Everyone on the guard is kind of scrambling back into positions where they can maybe make a retake happen, but Tex is just so far out of the equation that already it looks like the guard, pull away, make the save happen, and they're going to give this one up here to OR, keep the guns in their hand. And OR in a prime position to tie things up here. Guard will be moving forward with 4 rifles, but OR have got now momentum on their side in this attacking half.
Still isn't worst case scenario for the guard. Not only do they have guns going into the next round, their credits are still building. Should be able to still have a buy if the score ends up going back to that 8-8. Already here on the attacking side.
We do have Pancakes actually hunting. He wanted to try and pull guns, but that's a nice shot from Jonah P. So no guns outside of net going down will be lost here by the guard as OR Esports. Within 1 now of the guard, they will have rifles as well to work with, so we're back to a 5-on-5 with rifles in each player's hands. This is where things will get a little bit dangerous, and I like guard calling a timeout here. It kind of cuts the blood flow of OR here for a second.
Just for a tiny second. Don't really know, again, what the adjustment can possibly be in a timeout like this. We haven't seen
too much.
Yeah, any significant play style or anything like that, but again, it's just a big swing round in general. That eco goes down potentially. OR goes up to that 9-8.
Yeah. I do think if you are the guard, the one thing you're worrying about is what tempo is OR going to bring, because we've seen so far relatively fast takes from them. So if you're guard, the question is have we dealt with these tempos before, and how are we going to deal with them moving forward if OR continue that kind of spacing? Because you saw in that last round, they did get full A control, but the pacing of the C hit, catching net off guard, Zeldris with a great opening. There was nothing you could do about that if you're the guard. So now it's about adjusting the defensive setup in the event that that does happen again.
It's going to be finally a little bit of mid-presence coming out from OR Esports, but in terms of overall contact, we haven't seen too much in terms of just an early default. The guard, wherever they see a player from OR, that's where the bulk of them should be.
They tuck in towards that smoke, and Zeldris is just going to run up. He's selling a fake all by himself, and to be honest, it's worked extremely well here. It's pulled away 2 of these players from that A site, and a 3rd here as well as the Sova begins to rotate. There's not anyone here on A, and OR, that fast tempo, they knew the guard was trying to read into that, and they make a fake this time around.
It's so simple in theory, though. They didn't take away the line of sight of, much of the space in the middle of B. Now it's a full 5v5. Again, you already have everyone in OR already posted up. Nobody's going to be flanking.
All 5 of these players from the guard are coming in from either heaven or towards a lake. Oh, the shorty. He somehow gets away with his life as well, and he goes for a second. Pancakes to find 2, and now it's just on to 2 for the guard, where once again you're considering a save, but there was just no chance in hell they were going to win this round. OR with a fast adjustment, tie us up 8-8.
Fusion cells.
It's just unbelievable that you have the Omen on the front side making that type of play. Pancakes pulls up the shotgun. The only reason why he was there was just to stifle that play in. A lot of attention over towards heaven. Double attention back over towards main. It was all covered.
And it's such an effective fake. It starts where they drop a smoke in front of A main where they're able to, or like right out towards A long where they tuck into it. And that recon bolt that was sent there by Trent, no contacts off of it. So that fake from Zeldris, they had no idea they was heading towards A. Why? Because no one peeked. They do it here again, but this time Zeldris backs away. They feel that pressure. They don't want anything of it. Empty C side as well here, Gus. There's no one here to receive these players in OR, but they are hot on their tails. turret should get the contact, it might go out of range, and it does. He actually brings it back instead, so they're not exactly too areas to where these players are coming from just yet.
Gonna be that first contact from the Omen. He has an opportunity to potentially reposition in the back of C with the rest of his teammates, but and like you said, the Rolling Thunder, big danger point for the guard, and you would think with something like that, an ability like that being posted up over in long, you would get a split into the back of long, but that's not happening. Everyone from the guard splitting into the back of sight. They do get pancakes in the middle of smoke, but Zeldris here to cut it down. Cuts down two. The Rolling Thunder is just going to delay even more. They do have a little bit of coverage. They still have the Omen alive, but that just has to be the round. Again, chipping away these long headshots from Niliaz. Good tries, though, from the guard. That's all they could really do.
Yeah, they do at least pull some guns out of the hands of OR, so it's not the worst of rounds, but that felt like a gimmick play from the guard, just kind of rushing down towards A-Long, putting that pressure. They got lucky, I think, with a headshot in through the smoke onto Pancakes. But now is where the real test begins. They've got rifles back in their hand. Op out for Tex. Where does he want to take this? He takes it down towards mid this time around. And Trent sat back towards like the heaven stairs for a second, maybe contemplating using his Hunter's Fury. We still might see it off of Jonah P in this fault line, but this is an OR fully geared up and ready to go here towards the A site.
This stun's gonna pop.
Away. I think he is gonna try and use Hunter's Fury here in a second.
Is it actually gonna stifle that back sight? I mean, once it comes out, it should be that red carpet. Back into sight. But again, the guard, they're still maintaining that Sova on the front line in terms of a contact, so no.
That drone gets absolutely nothing. I think OR, maybe there's an opportunity for them to slip in after that drone getting nothing, but there are still 3 players here. Trent, not in a position anymore to use that Hunter's Fury as Zeldris leads the way.
Oh, distracted here is Trent, but he still somehow gets the kill. 2, 3 players in the back of sight, just playing ring around the rosy. Jonah P going back at it. 3 players all getting kills here for the guard. Double kill from Trent, double kill from Jonah P. You still have Val in there for the guarantee. OR Esports gets stifled immediately from the choke point.
Much cleaner hold there from the guard, keeping 3 players on that site. Made it a lot more difficult for OR to get into it. They bring us back level 9-9, but the gun's still available here for OR. The out from Tex we haven't seen just yet. He switched it up once more. He's out towards C-Long instead. They're playing this anchor setup between the Jet and the KJ, which allows these 3-player stacks, which we're seeing again here towards A.
Not a lot of answers after that, though. All the nano swarms, all the KJ util is away from C site.
It's just the op here from Tex that they're relying on. The deep TP. This is timing, and Net might not know exactly where he is. Fault line as well to set him up, and that will give Pancakes the opportunity. And an explosion now onto the Z site. There was nowhere for Tex to go there.
He was gone. He was trying to jump into the middle of his smoke, but it was fully flashed. An amazing play from Pancakes to mix up that back line. And I mean, that's just the cheesy type of play that'll win you that round. It's almost impossible for the guard to retake.
That's such a lovely read from Physic as well. To recognize the reason why there was a 3-man stack was probably because of the presence of these 2 site anchors. So where does he go? He exploits where the op is strongest, out towards C-Long. And they crunch Tex. He had nowhere to go. Another save call out here by the guard, and OR will take 10-9. The second time they've had a lead in this first map. And now they're on to double digits where they're in a prime position to close this out. All it's going to take is 1 clean round against the guard where you fully reset them.
It's incredible that those words are coming out, though. This is the same OR Esports that went 0-5. 0-5 just a month ago in the last split. And in the last 2 weeks, taking down number 2 finishing G2. The guard finished number 2 in the regular season. This fast evolution of OR Esports happening right in front of our eyes. But again, this next round needs to happen for that to keep going.
And look at this again. There's another weakened site here towards A, and that's where the majority of these OR players are going. A field day here for Trent if he's not careful. They're taking it a lot slower here, OR. They drop a smoke and a dart to clear that space. And now they know where the op is, and we're looking to see how they work around that. And they go all the way to the C site. They've shown presence on A, so they know that's where the op should be rotating.
There's delay util here. You do have the nano swarm on the front side. Turret getting ticked, and it doesn't pop off. Instead, it's a TP alongside the dash to make it through that utility. Retake should come in already.
Hunter on both sides. Lockdown not broken just yet. There it is, but there's the pop. That's beautiful here from the guard. Lockdown forcing these players into chaos. Hunter Siri to bobble them up even more. And now leaves it on to Physic, who's rotated and has Nilly not too far off, but the positioning that they're in, Nilly's kind of just stuck. He doesn't know where this op is, and he's really not safe to cross, so it kind of all falls on the shoulders here of Physic.
Physic might just be fine, though.
No, I think he's gonna get cut off here.
No, he doesn't.
Doesn't cross.
Doesn't go into the back. A is open too. The link is being watched. This is just
30 seconds left.
OR Esports playing Minesweeper right now. Flicking through spaces, having no idea where any of these traps are. Nilly does come through.
What, Nilly?
Okay, 34 HP remaining. He finally goes down. Little highlight reel play. But the guard holding down that site easily.
Hold on. That's gonna hurt a lot more, I think, than we recognize. Yeah, because look at the buy that they're going back into this. Oh, never mind.
Is there any reset potential? We're late.
I thought there was a little bit more to that one. Valen's the only one that really suffers. I looked at net for a second, thinking he had to buy back, but all right, the guard are stable, and it's because of those 3 rifles they saved from the round prior. That's a big round for the guard to pick up. It keeps themselves afloat, gives them some ultimates to work with, that being Jonah P and his Rolling Thunder. No war. They will have Nilly on his lockdown. They start to edge towards this C site. This one's no fake, and this one's not putting about.
But there is that info grab back over in mid. Nilly is hearing all of this from A-Long.
How does he respond to it? He's going to pull players back here.
Oh. Physic barely spotted. Good stuff from the guard, though. They put up so much pressure over out in A main. They're going to force OR Esports to use so much util here.
And there's been a rotate here from the guard. Particularly, or specifically because they have this Rolling Thunder to make the A retake work. Even if this lockdown were to go down, which I think it will here in a second. Yeah, Trent already anticipating that kind of play, drops a recon bolt to see if that's where they were headed. Doesn't get any contact, so he can kind of heal off site here and play retake with the rest of his team. There's 40 seconds left, the site gets overwhelmed, and OR will take full control here.
Rolling Thunder, still too far away to be able to deny. Again, it's just going to be that retake as they already go in. They stifle this setup already. 1 player under. This is so much chaos. Trent finally emerges from the smoke, and he's able to get 2 out of it. Jonah P does the same. Retake working out so far, but the lockdown is going to keep the guard back into the corners.
And these players are on site here, and I don't know if they realize that because that smoke is completely missed. And Physic, yes, they get the spike down with just enough time. Physic avoids it! And that's what wins them the round! Avoiding the flash, Physic lines them up, and OR find 11.
1 bullet, 2 kills. There you go, Physic.
Here.
I mean, it's unbelievable, though. It was a 2v3 in the back of sight. That lockdown gives them a scrappy chance to fight in the back of sight. And now here we are, OR Esports, still keeping their lead, 1 away from at least confirming overtime. And look at the cash of the guard. It's not perfect.
Barely enough cash for the guard left over. Tex is not even going to be able to work with knives next round. They've gambled it mainly into this last round to tie it up once more, but what a round from OR. Lockdown goes
fast
in, and now they're going to continue to accelerate. Keep that pace and momentum up. Tex here, challenge, needs to try and win this, but he's not going to find anything.
They do have control of that backside, but Pancakes from above! Lines up 1, has a couple more to go. There's 2 players over towards Link, but is he getting greedy? Don't think so. It's just Zeldris in the awkward angle now. Waiting to see if anyone goes through. That's a great TP from Valen.
Oh, Zeldris gets caught off guard. Nilly has from Garage, though. A massive double gives a chance here.
2v4.
Is Trent. Huge! Just another one. There's Net with another big pick. They're picking them off 1 by 1. Pancakes has got his back. Turn between 2 players, and the guards stay alive. They keep OR off of 12.
Thanks.
And that's just enough to keep them afloat economically. We have got a game on our hands going the distance.
The entire time, both the guard and OR Esports trying to at least keep that BT confusing. TP from the top from Pancakes. Immediately when Valen gets a chance to get into the back of sight, he TPs and gets that double swing in.
The pressure's on OR now to respond. They wanted to carry momentum into that last round by accelerating, quick hit in towards that B site. And that acceleration cost them that 12th round they were looking so desperately for, and that huge reset onto the guard they were wishing for. They will have this Rolling Thunder Gust to work with. And on the other side, the guard have got their Hunter's Fury. Two behemoths when it comes to ultimates and how they can affect rounds. For OR, they know the implications. We set it up. This was the map they have to win. This series, the probability just worsens and worsens as the maps go on. And this is their best chance here. 60 seconds with a coach, 60 seconds to breathe.
One of the only teams to come out of Split 1 with 0 cumulative circuit points. The only way for OR to make Ascension, to make that tournament, is to make playoffs, to make their mark known in the regular season of Split 2.
And there's a combo here with this Hunter's Fury and Fault Line. Trent's in a beautiful spot to use it as well, and he is going to use it. A early pop. He gets a tag and he gets a kill. That's going to be devastating to OR. Losing Zeldris in a round as pivotal as this.
Now OR scratching their heads. How can they burst into a site now? Scaling their way up mid, no contact. Zeldris here would be huge.
The real question is what do you do here? Do you use the Rolling Thunder for an exit or do you use it for a post plant? And they're making noise on the doorsteps of B. And again, a behemoth when it comes to ultimates. Rolling Thunder can make or break a round, and net backs off the angle, so there's a chance here after that drone. That's a really nice drone from Physic. He's actually drawn net out of position. He created a slight gap now towards the B site.
He can maintain Garage here and pull rotations, but it doesn't matter here for OR. It's just maintaining that B link potentially, but he's backed out. Plant will go in.
This is crazy. They're planning towards the A side. I wonder if they're going to fight this. It looks like it with Jonah 6 in his fault line, or at least try and maintain control here. Yeah, they are going to look to do that, but 2 players to the guard. They start to move forward. Alarm bot will queue, and they will know where the hit's coming from. But how do they respond? They might just get caught off guard if they're not prepared towards mid.
Paranoia hits the turret. They can maybe jump out, but they still have to face on a 2v1. Here we go. Guard on the front side. You still have OR. You have 3 players in mid now, covering that spot up. Finally, out goes the Rolling Thunder. Huge for OR Esports, but they're still getting cut down. Huge kill for Jonah. Physic now in a 1v2. Knows exactly where the last man is, but no chance. Jonah P takes it all. A huge 3K on the round. And he gets a 12.
And just enough time to find the laws of Physic. Jonah P cutting them down, the clutch that they needed for OR. And how heartbreaking is this for OR? So close. It's so far it feels. They've got one more round to do it. They've got to buy in their back pocket. And it's going to be a scrappy round. I mean, I wish we had Barracks so we could see if they had full YouTube, but I can't imagine this is going to be that pretty of a round. Hunter's Fury for Physic. They're going to work again in towards the safe side, but once more, there are 3 players here. Guard have been playing this double anchor setup on CNB and stacking 3 players here time and time again. Is this the round OR crack it? Not at the start.
Random through the smoke. There you go, Trent. An amazing start, like you said. The Guard now have all these players in front of them lined up with the Rolling Thunder. What is this now? I think a player has slipped through anyways. This is so tough. Pancakes finally gets taken down by Jonah P. He was the only one isolated. 3v5.
Jonah P, this fault line's got to be so well timed. Zeldris can slip through and punish him so easily here if he's not careful. Valen's got his 6, Valen's got his 6, and he covers it perfectly as Jonah stuns the rest of these OR players. Not a chance in the world now for Nilly, as the Guard seal the deal at 13-11 in map number 1, and the Guard lead the series.
The Guard, however, they were down 11-10. They were steps away from dropping the first map to OR Esports, and man, again, the entire time, it always seemed like OR had some sort of step forward on the guard. Thankfully, in that second half and in the end of the first half too, we got the guard back into regular form. But that was finally the game that we wanted to see from OR in terms of Haven, at least. They looked solid, but it wasn't enough.
Yeah, I think that's the big promise here. OR looking extremely strong. The guard with resilience. We knew Haven was going to be a close one. We knew that's where OR needed to find their landing ground. They needed to win that map. Now map number 2, as we head to a break. We'll be right back as we break down that game right after.